A New Jersey native who loves fashion. He started off by buying, trading, and selling clothes, but now he's building a brand of his own.
Hell yeah.
He's called Fru.wear. He's soon going to be the biggest that everyone's seen.
Siri, turn on DND.
Okay. Do not disturb is now on.
Yo, yo, yo.
Yes, sir. Welcome back.
Let's get it.
Another one.
Pod number 7, baby. I appreciate y'all tuning in, for real.
Yeah, it's 7. It's 7. You finally got it this time.
Got it right, baby.
But shit, it's been a good week.
Yes, sir.
A lot of shit going
A lot
on.
of shit going on. This is the second one this week. Well, first one on Monday, but we did one on, Saturday? You guys will see that one before this one, but...
Yeah.
Even bigger than that, Friday night, our boy I Am Dino in the Flesh had his first show, man.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, hey, for real, I appreciate y'all pulling up. My dog Mike Leaves, I don't know if you were off, but Leaves I know called off work for it, so that's crazy
Hey,
love.
It was better than what's it called? Going to work for sure.
Hell yeah.
You were lit though.
Hell yeah, I appreciate it. Yeah, I was the first one going up, so I know I had to set the tone.
Did you have some butterflies like when you first walked up there?
It's crazy because like the whole week prior to it, I had nothing, and then kind of like the day of when I knew it was coming up,
A little nervous?
little butterflies, yeah. And then I was talking to Simon about it. It was like as soon as I got up there, like once I just started talking in the mic, like
Just felt
it was
normal.
straight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You feel better now that like the first one's done? You ready for the next one?
Hell
Type
yeah,
shit.
definitely ready for the next one. And I know everybody who was involved in shit, like after performance, we all grouped up like a damn huddle
Yeah.
and talked about just how we can get the next one popping and how we can like start doing more promotion in the city just to get everybody linked in and excited for it.
Hell yeah, that's fire, bro. Congrats. That's a big step. As
For
an
real,
artist, like,
congrats.
doing
That was
your
a nice
first
little
concert.
venue too.
Hell yeah, it was perfect. It was the first time I've been there. Shout out my man Jams, bruh.
Yeah.
Jams put it on.
You had a pretty good turnout. I mean, I've seen videos of like Lil Baby when you first started, and he had like 2 people in the fucking crowd. You had like what, 40?
Yeah, I think one thing that helped a lot is just a collaborative effort of we had 6 artists performing.
Yeah.
So we all were telling our people.
To pull
so
up.
if we all had a couple people, then yeah.
Yeah, it was a
I
good
feel like a
turnout.
lot of people also just said, like, told the people when they were going on.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I mean, we still had a hell of a turnout for real.
The people I was there for you were all turning up. So
I was telling
real.
everybody, like, I know how hard it is to, even if you just send somebody your music, for them to actually click and listen.
versus
So the people that actually took time out of their day to come to the show
up, yeah,
is different.
Shout
So
out to
that's
them.
crazy love, yeah.
yeah. All right, well, we got a special guest today, man.
We do. All
Big
right,
guest,
so
the
to
Fru.wear,
introduce him
the
here,
true
we
way.
got a New Jersey native who loves fashion. He started off by buying, trading, and selling clothes, but now he's building a brand of his own.
Hell yeah.
He's called Fru.wear. He's soon going to be the biggest that everyone's seen. So let's give it up for Fru.
The
Yes,
biggest.
Sir. Yes, sir.
Biggest.
Let's get it, baby.
Yes,
Let's
sir.
get
Fru.
it.
It's our second guest.
Yes,
Let's go.
sir.
I appreciate you coming on, dog, for real.
Yes, sir.
Appreciate y'all
Thanks,
having
welcome.
me.
Hell yeah, I'm excited.
And
He
just
made
to
the-
circle
he-
back, that
he
show
made the-
Friday was something special. I
Yeah.
was there too. It was sick.
Yeah.
Thank you,
You
dog.
made the drive from New Jersey. How was that?
Wasn't too bad. I didn't hit traffic till Georgia. Like literally, like the last 30 miles, there was like a tractor trailer hit the barrier.
It always happens.
Yeah,
Always.
I was almost there. It was home stretch, like hour left, and then it was like hour 47. I was like, oh fuck.
Damn.
I just did that drive too, like 2 months ago. It's a nice
Yeah.
drive.
It's just one road, just down 95.
Yes,
Yeah.
sir. We hit a bunch of rain when we did it, so it was like that. That scary of like downpour rain going like 70, 80 miles
Dude,
an hour.
yeah, that shit's
and then you have
sketch.
like tractor trailers, like you said, like blowing mist up in your face.
Yeah,
and
blowing
stuff.
tires and shit too.
Dude, that's crazy. But it was a good drive, so it was definitely worth the aesthetics.
It's not snowing up there right now, is it? Like you're
No,
not
it
hitting
was like
ice when you get
70 when I left. It's finally spring.
Oh,
It was-
okay,
We
nice.
didn't really get much of a winter. Like I don't think there was like much recorded snowfall in Jersey where I was at.
Okay.
Got to go to the mountains, go up to like Maine,
Yeah,
New
that's
Hampshire,
sick.
Vermont, stuff like that. But
Hell yeah.
Can you go
yeah.
skiing up there? Is there someone up there to
yeah,
go skiing?
yeah.
Okay.
So Jersey's like one of the few states where, like California, you could hit mountains, not a desert, mountains, a beach, and a forest, like all in the same day, and then a
Damn.
city as well. So you got everything in
Damn.
between. Yeah.
That's sick.
That's facts. That's
And theme
sick.
parks.
What mountains are those? Appalachian?
Yeah, I think it's like part of that, like
You're
like
still
the
going-
offshoot. Like it goes mainly through Pennsylvania, and we kind of
you
get like
did? Okay, that's
but,
cool.
Yeah.
That's lit, man.
But shit, let's get into the clothes, bruh. So,
Yeah.
how long you been doing this for? How'd you get started?
So like I first started thrifting when I was like a kid. Like I'd go to the laundromat with my grandma. It'd just be like buy a toy, keep me occupied while we're like doing laundry.
Facts.
And then middle school, I went with my dad and stepmom down to Alabama, and that was the first time I like looked for like music and clothes. And she's like, "Go look at CDs, go look at T-shirts." I was like, "Okay." And that like opened my perspective.
Wait, hold
like,
on that mic, talking to
Here?
the front.
This front. Hello. Yo.
There you go.
But no, it changed my perspective of like what to look for in a thrift store rather than just like a toy as a
Toy or
kid.
something.
Yeah.
Facts.
And then, you know, moving here, being roommates with Jim Gibb, that was, you know, opening more of like, you know, there's Goodwill bins and there's people that are out here willing to buy this stuff. So it's like selling on Poshmark, selling on Mercari, like starting with those apps and then, you know, having the guts to like put it on my Instagram and like, you know, believing in myself enough to put it out there. With other
That's a
people.
huge
Yeah,
step.
that's the first
And
step.
that was something that I wasn't confident in for a while of like, will people like it? Will they like actually like, you know, fuck with what I'm doing?
Yeah.
So it was kind of tough to, you know, get to that point of like, yeah, like I can like make my own stuff now. So like this shirt is something I made for a band, for Flip Turn. They're from Jacksonville,
shit.
but they put out an album in August, and I saw them in July. Was ready for the album to come out. Saw them again in November, and they had the same merch they did over the summer. So I was like, okay, I took it upon myself to like make them something.
Hell yeah.
And then they fucked it up.
Yeah, we had talked about like over the summer when I met them, like sustainable merchandise, like printing on vintage blanks, and that's what this is. It's like a secondhand, recycled, reused item that has
Nice.
new life now. That, you know, I saved it from a thrift store, brought it to the print shop, printed it.
Damn.
That's sick.
So the manager and I talked in the summer, and he was super chill. He was like, "Yeah, like I love the idea, but we're kind of booked right now. Like 2023 maybe." And it's like, I don't like that answer. I don't like a maybe. I don't like it being
Yeah.
left held in the air.
Because you spent money, and so now it's like
Yeah,
you just
so it's just like, all right, like I had all these like blanks like on deck. Like I have like bins of them at home just for projects. Like whenever I have an idea and I, you know, okay, this color palette, like these will work for that. So I took it upon myself. I saw them in Boston. I was going to see them the next day driving home in New York because, you know, Boston, New York, New Jersey. I scrapped the Monday show, saw a different band, went to work Tuesday, printed the shirts, went to see them again Wednesday. They played 2 shows in New York, and I gifted them to them as a surprise. I was wearing one, and I was like, oh, look at this. Where'd this come from? And they were like, what? And I gave them each one, and they were
Hell
super
yeah.
stoked on it. And then, like, that was a cool feeling. Like, it's hard when you make your own thing. Like, for myself, like, wearing, like, a Fru hat or, like, wearing, like, a Fru shirt, like, self-repping your own thing. It's like that takes some balls to like wear yourself on your chest.
Hell yeah.
So for them to see that and be like, this is sick, and them to wear it, like self-repping is like the number one. Like you can pass that,
Yeah.
and everyone will like it.
Yeah, that's fire.
So I posted on Instagram, people enjoyed it, and then we talked about doing a collab, and we did 50 of them. We didn't do the vintage tees just because like sizing wise, you'd have to like exact measurements on everything. So we used like recycled material T-shirts. So it was like made from recycled plastic. Stuff
Is
like
that is that like your big thing that you like to stand out as
Yeah.
all the recycled stuff?
Exactly. So like when I think about fashion, I think about things that are already out there and creating with those materials instead of creating more waste and using new product and you know child labor,
Yeah.
fast fashion, just things that aren't sustainable as humans or to our planet. Like if it's already out there, use it, give it new life. So
Yeah, facts.
I'll go to yard sales, go to estate sales. Someone has a bunch of old work shirts and they're a nice faded black shirt. Like that's perfect because it's already been worn, it's already been loved, and now it just needs that extra touch to have like a second life cycle.
Hell yeah,
And
I love that.
When I find things, like I look at it as like it had this whole life. I find it. That's the first half of the circle. And then the next person that finds it for me, it completes the circle. It's like this very like circular motion of like it going around and it like coming to fruition, which is like the idea behind my last project of like you have an idea, you need to give it tender love and care, like give it everything it needs to grow. You need to give all this stuff time and effort. It's not just going to happen overnight.
Facts.
Same with this podcast. You guys are on episode 7 now. I remember when episode 1 came out. I remember when you guys were at the table drawing up the plans to even make the podcast. Like
Yeah.
you guys were talking about it. You guys gave it the time and love and care, and you brought it to fruition and like made this idea happen. And like it's here. We're doing it. We're on
Facts.
7. We're gonna be on 700 in a couple months. Like
Hell yeah.
I like
For
that.
You think that's
sweet.
the biggest thing that kind of like got you off of the ground? Like having to invest money like these bands that you've just liked and supported, and just say fuck it, like I'm gonna just spend the money on printing these shirts, showing up, and if they like it, then that's lit. We could start making projects off of it. Or
so like the money thing, it's like it comes and goes. Like you can't be like scared money doesn't make money. And like in my mind, like it wasn't even about making money. It was about like making something good. And like just getting good things to good people, and that's always been the goal with like the vintage stuff as is, like just spreading that positive message of like there's alternatives out there. You don't need to go to the mall. You don't need to buy off a Shein. You don't need to go to PacSun. Like you can go and find stuff in a thrift store yourself. You can find someone like myself or someone else that's passionate about doing that thing, and support them in their endeavor, and then you get something cool that you get to rock, and you can tell a story with it. It's not like, oh, I got this at the mall. It's like, oh, I got this from my friend. It's 30 years old and it's still in great shape. It has this whole life behind it, and
you're
like
supporting something bigger than you, because it's like it's a whole process. It's not like you said, just showing up and you spend $30 and you get a shirt. It's like someone else went through this and had to do this, and now I'm wearing it. Yeah. So it has that.
When you thrift and you buy just shirts and different type of clothing, do you look for blank shirts, or do you buy shirts with stuff on it? And if you do, is there like a process of taking it off, or do you just like build upon it?
So like a little bit of both with the blanks versus regular stuff, because just your regular t-shirts, I go to events and like I'll set up like a booth and have like a couple racks, maybe a table, and I'll just have stuff that I thrifted and like sell it as is, and that pays the bills, that gets you by. And then the personal project stuff, so I'll find like quality good blanks that like you've seen enough t-shirts, what tags you like, how they fit, how they feel, like which ones wash out which way, whatever. And so like I've hoarded shirts that I'm like, this will be good to print on. I know this will be good to print on. If it has like a little chest hit or a little something, like you could print over it. There's like a chemical you can use to spray it out. But if you have like a big print, it's
tough.
Yeah, it's tough. So you have to be just meticulous when you're shopping. Like know the tags. It could have like a date on it. It could say 1995, but by the tag you could know it was printed last year. So like a big one for that is like Grateful Dead. Liquid Blue is, the company that made all their shirts. They did all the merchandising. But in the 90s, they had a white tag. It said Made in USA. It was a single stitch on the sleeve. And now it's got like a printed in tag. And it still says the year, but you can tell by like the stitching on the hems and the tags that it's like a newer version of that shirt. Gotcha. But it has that licensing from that year.
Yeah.
What is like the best material you think for you to thrift? Is it like cotton, like 100% cotton? I know some like most shirts like these that I have are like 100% cotton. Is that the best?
So it's definitely like all about like just personal preference. So like there's a 50-50 blend where it's like half cotton, half poly, and that's what this is. So like it'll wash out, and like you can even like start to see through it a little bit, like with the light behind it. Yeah. And the more you wash it, the more the cotton will like dissipate over time, and it'll leave you with like this like paper thin, like super soft, stretchy shirt. So you find some of those from like the 80s where it's kind of like a dry fit, but it's not. Like it's like thin and light, and like it's great for down here because you're not trying to wear a thick, heavy cotton shirt and sweat through it all day.
Hell yeah.
And that's one thing that like I always tell people when they're shopping, like just find what you like and like try to hone in on what you're comfortable in, and like that's the biggest thing of fashion is like comfort and just like durability and being able to be versatile with that piece. So fashion originally is like only for the upper class, and they would wear things so restrictive, so tight, so uncomfortable that they needed servants. Like they couldn't cook their dinner, they couldn't clean the table, and fashion was a statement, and you can still make a statement but be comfortable. So you could wear shorts and a t-shirt and the right hat and right shoes can like piece that together, whereas you could wear like slides and have your hair messy and like go for a whole different feeling. And like it's all about what you're feeling that day. I like dress for my mood when I wake up, so like if I'm like not feeling it that day, I'm gonna wear all black. And I'm usually a very colorful person. Like I'll wear like pastels and bright colors. But if I'm down here in Florida, like black shirt's not always the best because it's hot. I'm wearing it just to talk about it. But no, like a nice like this shirt I was probably gonna put on when I sweat out of this one. It's this like Grand Canyon.
Show the camera real quick. Got the sunset.
Yeah. So it's got like a little sunset, little dude hiking.
I like that.
Yeah, that's fire.
Hell yeah, that's a vibe for sure.
And so the tag, like this specific Hanes tag, is like an 80s tag.
Official.
So like by that that like graphic on it that it was made within this time period, whatever.
It's got some history behind it. That's pretty
exactly.
cool, bro.
And this one's funny to me because like it almost looks like it could be a Patagonia shirt, but it's like a tourist shirt, like Grand Canyon. And like you'll see it has like the artist and like the year on the bottom.
Oh yeah.
So like a lot of shirts will have that like licensing that I was talking about before.
Oh yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Hell yeah. Damn, that's fire.
Yeah.
So it just like helps you date it and like help you like know like this came from this place and like you think someone drove across the country or like flew out to I can't even think of the state, Arizona, went to the canyon and was like, oh, like this is the shirt I'm bringing back to wherever I'm from.
And ended up in Florida or wherever you got it. Now you're wearing it. It's the thing's older than us. Bro.
Exactly,
Since 80s. That's crazy.
What would you suggest for like I know a shirt like this that I'm wearing, I can't even see it like piecing off and just like you said, like the more you wash it, the more wear and tear it gets. Like shirts that you want to keep for a while and you like the look, would you suggest more like in a damn sink with soap and just washing it yourself, or what's the best way?
There's
to
definitely
not
stuff that needs that kind of love and like needs that like, you know, fragile care, but just like a easy way to do it is always wash cold. Always turn it inside out if you don't want the graphic to crack, and then hang drying. Like hang drying will make sure it doesn't shrink, make sure it doesn't crack more, and that'll just kind of preserve the life of the shirt. Like for anything, I always put like care instructions in when I make my own stuff when I do a personal project, just so like I know that it's inevitable after time and time it'll eventually crack. That's just like the way it is, and like it's good on certain older shirts because it gives it that character. But like when you have it new, you want it to be as new for as long as possible, and like you want to see it crack over time in 10 years. Like you want to know that that's had a story behind it that made it that way.
Facts.
But yeah, just cold water. I've been working with this company, EnviroCleanse. They're actually, I think they're based in Florida, but a friend of mine from FGCU is like the head of their influencer marketing. So she hit me up to make some reels for them, make some videos, TikTok, all that kind of stuff. And it's been fun because like I get to practice what I'm doing. Like I'm not the greatest video maker, and I get to practice that, and not just for myself but for another company. So it's bettering both of our brands together, which is cool.
100%.
And like growth together is great.
I think what's really cool about the whole like fashion thrift thing you have going is like nowadays when you look at fashion, people think Louis Vuitton, Gucci. They think, you know, Paris Week, you know, Fashion Week, and it's all like you gotta spend this much money, and you know it's all really expensive in like high life. But what you guys are showing is like you can spend what $20-$30 on a whole fit and be fresh. You know what I'm saying? You can spend something and have a whole different look, and people are like, "Damn, I like your fit, bro." And it's like you didn't have to spend $3,500 on a whole fit at Gucci or Louis because you found what you like and you made it work, which I think is really cool. It speaks to more like, you know, 90% of the rest of the United States that's not like, you know, upper class. So
I feel like that's a way. I think it's honestly like a personal mindset. Some people love to wear that expensive shit
just because it's expensive.
And some people might come from money and they're like, fuck, like let me just buy this expensive shit, bruh. I'll buy cheap ass. I'll go to Ross if I like the way it looks. I'm rocking it regardless. So I just feel like it comes down to personal.
Do you think that has like an impact on like brands like you, like obviously the designer? Like it's probably an impact, but like because you're so like you're smaller than, you know, Gucci, Prada, and all that, people that like have the money that can buy those things just wouldn't look towards you.
It's definitely like a why would you invest in me kind of thing. And I feel like investing in my brand, you kind of have to know me on a personal level. Like I've had times where I meet people that day and they're like, "Oh, this is really cool what you got going on." Like I did a pop up in New York and I dropped this fruition project, and some random passerbys are like, "Oh, that's cool." And like circling back to the, you know, wear your own thing and like self repping to know it's cool. Like a stranger saying it's cool is like a whole nother level. Like you don't even know why it's cool. You don't even know the story behind it. And that's kind of what I try to do with the things I make is storytelling and like having like, you know, reasons behind everything. So 100%. A fashion house like Louis or Dior or Gucci will just push out what's hot. This is the style this year. This is cool. This is what we say it is, and this is the price tag. And people will spend whatever they want on that thing. But at the same time, like when you see a small brand and you see love and care put into it, you know that they made it with intention. That is like a whole nother level of meaning to what you're wearing.
And it's more personal,
like you said,
they're just
gonna pump it out.
Yeah,
you know
it's whatever's cool that year, and like whatever designer we brought on to co-sign it to give us that extra push of like, oh, this person's on the project, like sell it more,
facts,
add up the price a little more. Like
I think it's even cooler because, like you're saying, it's a pop-up, it's limited. There's only 30 shirts of that exact one that you came up with from yourself and created it and got all those shirts that were specific, that size, and
they'll all have the same graphic but be completely different one of one because they're each their own separate blank. So
100%.
This is the fruition project I just did. Show the camera real quick.
Yeah, big fruition. Let's get it.
Damn, I like that.
If you want to pass it and just take a look. So like the idea behind it is like each one is one of one. Each one is a separate T-shirt, separate color, separate size, and I always tell people like your homework before the drop is measure your favorite T-shirt, check the armpit to armpit, check the collar to the bottom, and like know how you like your thing to fit. So when you shop with me, you can find what you like that fits, and like you'll wear it over and over. You won't just put it in your drawer because like, oh, it's a little tight.
Yeah.
So each there's only 50 things made with that graphic on it, and there's only 50 in existence, and you have that one that's that color, that size. Like you have the only one.
Yeah.
So it does add this like sense of like limitedness and urgency when it drops of like I need to be on the site, I need to check it out,
which is sick. I like that.
Yeah, and like vibe. Everyone knows like no one else has this, and that's what's special about like printing on vintage is like everything is unique to you, and you have that one. Yeah, I don't know. I really like that of like nobody else has this. Like,
yeah,
that's what's cool about vintage is like, oh, this is super old, and like, yeah, there's more floating around out there, but this one's worn this way. It has these holes, has this fade, and that's that one. You know, you can find a brand new one, and it'll be the same as another brand new one.
Facts.
But each one kind of turns into a piece of art over time, the way it fades. So
yeah,
I gotta ask you a good would you rather question that's kind of in one of our segments. So it's a would you rather question, but this is particular to you. So would you rather be able to get your hands on some exclusive, like let's say some unreleased like Virgil Abloh drop, or what was the second part of it?
Or you come up with your own drop and like
you sell out.
What's the quickest you've sold out of a drop or whatever? Like what would be
like a sellout like overnight?
This shirt that I'm wearing right now, friends and family, I kept it to 20, and I gave them to the band, and then my friends, their family, whatever. And then we did 50 total on the recycled material shirts, and those sold out in an hour.
So
that was crazy. That was a really surreal feeling.
Would you rather have a pop-up where you have like, let's say 500 items and you sell out everything in one day?
That'd be crazy.
Or would you rather get your hands on like some exclusive unreleased, like a whole fit from Virgil?
So like, I like the idea of like, again, nobody has it. It's unreleased. Like I have this thing that's not even available. I have a pair of shoes like that. If you guys know Cactus Plant Flea Market, it's this like Asian American female designer, Cynthia Liu, behind it. Separate from Cactus Jack. There's separate entities. People confuse it a little bit. But it was like the ones with the moss on the bottom. And then they scrapped that project and they're like, we're gonna put out the Grinch one. So it was like the fuzzy ones. And I think the original one was cooler, but probably production, whatever made it difficult to make that they only made the first run of them and scrapped the project.
Yeah.
So that's cool because there's not a lot out there, but having something that you made that other people can share the love on and like see what you saw and feel what you feel, like just sharing feelings through clothing. Like I always knew that whatever I did in life, I wanted to make people happy. I didn't know how I was going to do that. I went to school originally for accounting, and I was like, I'm gonna make people happy with their tax return. Like, yeah, happy tax season. And then I switched to marketing, and it was kind of like this idea of like, oh, I want to like market a product line and like have this product and tell a story with it and like give the direction, the creative direction. And like I've always been a creative person. Like, what was it, left brain? I forget which one's which, but
no, I don't know. But yeah, I know what you mean.
The side that's not the math, the side that's not the math and science one. I've always been that colors, shapes. Like, like it's
visual learner,
100%.
I'm a visual learner for sure. I gotta see someone else do it before I do it.
Yeah. So like, thrifting all the time, like you learn by looking at 100 shirts, like what's that, and then you can kind of tell yourself this works for them. This has worked over time. this is what I want to do, and this is how I'm going to integrate them. So if you can put all those pieces together and like see the success that came before you and use your ideas and, you know, some of their formula and mix your ingredients in and, you know, sell out 500 pieces would be awesome. And I think we're going to get there one day.
Yeah, you will for sure. You just got to keep building.
Yeah.
So you'd still take the sellout.
I take the sellout.
Okay.
Just to know that like my stuff is out there and other people can enjoy it. Like
Can enjoy it.
Yeah, that's cool because it's the whole process, like you're saying, behind it of the full circle of life for clothing in this situation. So that's cool.
One thing that I wanted to say, going back to what we were saying earlier, but we kind of got caught up, is just I feel like your clothing brand coming up with your own thing can also relate to like my music. Yeah. As in sense of we were talking about getting people to wear it. It's more personable. Like I have more people listening to my music that I know than that don't know me. And just like you, like you'll have your friends wearing it before anybody's like, oh, that's cool. And I feel like it all relates to that personable thing to get off the ground. Yep. And just like someone comes up and meets you at a pop-up, when they talk to you and they're like, damn, like this man's cool as shit. You made this, like, hell yeah, I'm going to rep it. Like, I like you. I'm going to rep your shit. And I feel like both of us should start doing more content online of just like more of like our face. Yep. And just
putting your face to your brand is the biggest thing you can do. And like I found a lot of success in that when I was doing Instagram Live. And there was this period where like Nike sweats and t-shirts were spiking like crazy. So you'd hop on with like 2-3 friends. You guys would be on like the little 4-panel IG Live. And you do auctions. And like you'd talk to people. You get to know them. And like over time, like you kind of like build not like a fan base, but like a family even with these people. And like we have a group. Too. Exactly. Like we have a group chat of like all these people that were into Nike at this one point. Like we'd send each other like eBay links or like I just got this in. Is anybody looking for this size, this color? And like you look out for each other and like it's cool putting your face to that and like someone knows you as like, oh, this guy is like, you know,
he's trustworthy. He knows what he's doing for the community.
Yeah, and he's looking out for other people too. Yeah. And I look at it as like getting product on backs and like having people just out and about wearing it is like you're building like an army. Like that's like your foot soldiers. Like they're out there repping for you and like have you heard my boy's new song? Have you seen my boy's new project? Like check this thing out.
Yeah, both of you guys are promoting that.
Exactly.
So collab coming soon, maybe.
I mean, let's make
sure. I was actually just gonna get into that. Have you done any collabs with anybody? And
so
what's your favorite?
This shirt is this is a collab that I've done. This is my first real one. I guess you can kind of call a partnership with the detergent a collab in a sense. It's me kind of just promoting their thing and, you know, making my content with it.
Hell yeah.
But I'm working on another one with another band, so we'll some wood. That's metal, but but no, just I like, you know, making cool things with cool people. So like other artists, other bands, other creators, like just brands coming together and minds coming together, working on like a common goal.
Yeah, and I know you with this one, you said that you just did it yourself and then you surprised them.
So like I saw them in concert in Boston. I saw they, you know, didn't have any new merch from when I saw them last, like maybe like 1-2 things, but no like tour shirt. And I feel like when a band goes on tour, they need like that shirt so you can say I was at this concert in this fall. And like giving that to them is like a memento for them to have of like we did this tour, like this is like, you know, we did this, and then other people to be able to have that and share in the like we were there for that, like we were able to go to this, and like I don't know, just like that idea of like it's like a keepsake, like it's like a time capsule in itself.
Yeah, I have a friend who went to a Kendrick concert. And he has the Kendrick shirt. It has like all the tour dates on the back.
And he remembers that night like it's yesterday.
Hell yeah. Would you like to do more of a collab as like sitting down with the people in the band and coming up with the design and everything? Or do you kind of like just doing your own thing on it?
I mean, I would love to have like everybody's input. I think that the more brains in a room, like the better thing you'll get. Like they say, you put monkeys in a room with typewriters long enough, you'll get the Bible and Shakespeare. I think you got enough people working on a project, you guys can all put your heads together and spitball something crazy. So it's definitely like super like humbling when people like trust my opinion of like you know, free reign and like we trust you in this thing, and like that's really like a cool feeling. But knowing that like we all did this and we all put this together, and like everyone can look at it and say like I had a hand in that. And like I really like cool. that idea of like everyone saying like I did this thing with this group of people and like we made it happen.
Hell so yeah, I like that.
Yeah, that's good.
The next question I got for you is how do you know Simon? How did you get
Simon?
Yeah, he was our last guest.
So
shout him out. Shout out
hell
Simon.
yeah.
We met through where we lived at. I'm sure I met Liebs around the same time. Living in University Village, UV, just going to the pool, hanging out with the boys, playing some beer dye. Dude, the beer dye in the sandbox after a long day in the sun.
That was fun. That was fun.
Those are the days. We actually, all three of us ended up working at Slicers together for a little bit.
That's right.
So that was good. That was a fun time. It was like we were all friends outside of work, and then we just go clock in together and like start throwing meat. And
It'd be fun too, because like on slow, like when we were slow and we wouldn't have anything to do, we'd just stand there and like Carl would play one of his songs, or my bad, Simon would play one of his songs over the speakers, and like we'd be like out in the front, and we'd do like a little concert. And
that's
like,
fire.
Pretending to be like the DJ out there. It was fun.
So you met them before you were doing Fru?
So like I was doing a little bit on the side, just like selling through like apps like Poshmark and Mercari thing. Like this is when I was still like student, working, trying to have a social life, play sports. So it was kind of just like a side money thing.
Yeah.
And when COVID hit and we had to close down Slicers for a bit and just like limit like one or two guys working at a time, that's when I was like, all right, like I need to do this on like a bigger scale.
Mm-hmm. And COVID gave you the time. We had
nothing but time for real. And I was shipping something out at the bookstore. This is a time where we're just finding anything to flip and make money on. Like, I was going to Walmart and buying pools and selling pools. Like, it was ridiculous. Like, I sold, like, an above-ground pool on eBay or something. And I was shipping stuff out in the bookstore, and they had a crazy sale. It was, like, 75% off. I don't know if you remember that.
Nah.
And it was just, like, everyone was being, like, mad feral. Like, just, like, I need it all.
Everything, yeah.
So I had a couple friends that worked there, and they were like, oh, I'll give you, like, an extra 10% off on top. I was like, you're dope. Thank you.
Damn.
And I asked, like, is there a limit how much I could buy? They said no. So I bought all these white Nike FGCU crew necks. And I put them on like my personal Instagram story, and I said small through 2X. Pick your size, dye, style, and colors. Whether you wanted like a spiral or like a V dye or like a crumple. Because I forgot
you were doing that for a while.
I remember that. Yeah.
That like, and you guys were there all summer, and like I was doing like in the grass on the sidewalk
and stuff. Yeah.
And that was like kind of like the birth of Fru.wear, because like I knew how to tie dye. That was like my first love in like, you know, just being creative, other than like drawing, painting, and like art class.
Yeah.
And that was like something that I just like every time I do it, I get a little better. And I was like, oh, I mix these colors or do this pattern, whatever. And that was like really big for me to like have people like actually like want it. And I guess like back to the how fast has like a collab sold out, that was really fast too, because I put them on my story on like one afternoon, and the next night, so it was like 28 hours, whatever, everyone had claimed one. There was like 35 of them.
That's pretty sick.
I had an Excel spreadsheet. I had everyone's name, their colors, like whether they needed it shipped or they were local. And like it was like COVID time, so like one of us got sick or whatever, and like I was doing like drop offs off the balcony, like someone would come, I'd throw like it in a bag, I'd throw it off the balcony, and
that's
get
hilarious.
this sweatshirt.
You ever seen on Instagram those guys that do the tie dye, and they have like the crazy, like took them like 18 hours.
Yeah, and they do like the faces and like the literal art in it.
Yeah.
Damn,
took them like
do faces in the tie dye.
Dude, I seen someone do Squirtle, like straight up, like full body head, like everything, like.
Bro, but it takes them like tiny. It takes them like 18 hours to like
just to tie
it.
Yeah,
and then another like 6 hours just to dye it.
Wow.
And they use these like super fine, like basically like little dotters, like just dot, so it doesn't like bleed all together.
So it's almost like painting a fucking picture.
Pretty much, yeah.
That's respect.
Was that your first time, the tie dye? The tie-dye drop, was that the first time you posted on your Instagram?
So that was my personal Instagram before I even had the one I use now. Mm-hmm. And like I was just like, so I was like a big Travis Scott fan, and I went to Astroworld, and I broke my face. Someone like beat the crap out of me.
What?
And,
no way, bro.
It's a whole nother can of worms. But I bought like all these shirts, like pay for the trip. So I was like putting them on Grailed, putting them on my story, and like selling them to people local, selling people online, and like. That's when I was like, okay, like I can like resell things. Like this is like going well.
You just have a market,
Yeah, and then with the tie-dye, it was like, okay, this is like a custom thing. And like people will have like a custom item. And then after that summer, I was always thrifting. and I'd always pass up on stained stuff, and I was like, why don't I buy this and dye that? Like, give it, again, new life.
Yeah.
So instead of printing on it, I was dyeing it at that point. And that was cool because, like, people, again, were getting one-of-one items. Like, you'd only have that one. And then October of 2020 is when I made I made it in the summer, but I posted on it for the first time. And I did, like, a 20-piece drop or whatever.
All right, so I got something for you. So with buying vintage clothes, so, like, do you ever feel like there is, you know, going to be at one point, like, a time where vintage clothes, like, where you're saying vintage clothes like 80s, you know, 90s clothes kind of disappears, and then you're going to go now into, like, newer stuff? Is that, like, coming upon you? Or, like, if that time comes, like, do you know what you're going to do then? Like, with vintage clothes and stuff?
Now, I don't think these things will ever, like, disappear fully. Just because, like, you're really selling nostalgia and, like, people reconnecting to a time period or, like, this thing that they remember from, you know, their parents or their childhood. And, like, I remember being a kid and my dad wearing clothes from the 70s. Like, he worked in a vintage shop at that time where, like, the stuff from the 90s was only 10 years old. Like, it wasn't, like, cool yet. Like, it was still, like, cool to some people. But over time, like, it kind of, like, gained, you know, a liking and a following because people look back at that time period and, like, they try to reminisce and reconnect. And I feel like as long as people want to, you know, remember and, like, have that nostalgia, vintage will stay kind of present. It definitely evolves every day, like trends and, like,
what about, like, people, like, I know you do a lot of, like, Grateful Dead stuff, but what about, like, when, you know, just say 10, 15 years down the road when, like, nobody really knows of Grateful Dead anymore?
Yeah, and that's the thing too, is, like, you know, it carries on through the older heads and, like, being able to go to the shows while you can. Like, this is the last year of, like, Dead and Company. This is the last year they're performing. So it's, I don't know, it's weird to think because, like, they say people die twice. Like, once they die and then once you stop saying their name. Yeah. So that's kind of the same with fashion, is, like, that fashion trend could die, like, you know, just, like, stops being cool. Then once people stop even trying to reincorporate it in any way, like, flare pants and bell bottoms came back in the past couple of years.
That is true. I've been seeing a lot more of those.
That, like, 70s style. And then, you know, 5 years from now, that could be gone again. And it could be that, like, Y2K style is coming back up. And, like, people look at it and laugh right now. It's like, oh, you're wearing baggy jeans and tall tees. Like,
but in 2, 3, 4 months, that could be the new wave.
That could be the new wave. Like, I got a pair of jorts right here. And, like, I made these last summer because they were comfy.
Oh, it looks like Bikini Bottom. That's
Bro, I was just about to say that. Yeah.
Looks like the background for Bikini
Those are
Bottom.
fire.
That's sick.
And then I threw a little Fru on the back, too.
Yeah.
And they're just, like, Old Navy, like, Carpenter, like, baggy jorts.
Hell yeah.
And that style is coming back. Like, people want, like, longer shorts again instead of, like, the above the knee in some places. And, like, it's crazy because 3 years ago I'd be like, nah, I don't want any shorts touching my knee. But now it's like, all right, like, it is kind of comfy. Like, it is, like, not that bad.
Yeah, I remember in, like, the 2000s, probably till 2010. You always see, like, Nelly,
cargo,
Soulja Boy,
like, baggy suits, the baggy shirts, the baggy shorts, like, everything was just, like, way bigger. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Now I look at, like, the tight fitting stuff, and I'm just like, that's not comfortable. Like, back to the comfortability of, like, wear what you like, wear what's comfortable. Like, you don't need to wear a 3XLT if you're a medium, but, like, at the same time, like, got a bag. Flow
I like the loose fit, honestly.
Yeah, I like to have a little bigger size. Like, if it's a little tight, I kind of usually just, like, get rid of the clothes. Like, most of the times for me, my whole life, I've got a large, and then I grew into an extra large or whatever. So once I get to that point where it's like, oh, I need a double XL now, just because
the way it's comfortable,
That's what I wanted to get into also. I see you do shorts, hats, tees. Like, what all do you have out right now that you're focusing on?
So right now I just did the Fruition drop. So that was mainly T-shirts, long sleeves, hoodies, crew necks. I did one hat. I have, like, plans to do more of those. But it was basically just, like, figuring out, like, the sizing. So this is, like, even older than the Fruition hat I did. Because that one's, it's sold on the website. This one of one. The brand on that's KC Cap, which they got, like, a bunch of, like, cool, like, old sports caps. So finding a blank one and being able to make my own with it was super dope. And, you know, just knowing that it will fit right, and then just being able to rock it with my brand, and people are like, oh, that's cool, where did that come from? It's like my brain. Like,
I made that. That's pretty sick.
But yeah, right now mainly just some tees and sweats. I've got like piles of like pants that I want to embroider and print on. A lot of ideas in the works for like spring, summer, and then fall. Like I like layers and like just being able to like wear like a jacket over
yeah, I like that too.
So like being able to like, this is like a Fru tee with a Fru jacket and like
Fru hat.
And then like even like going into like subdivisions of my brand, like I have an idea for this thing called Frog. And it's basically that idea of like, you know, like all conditions gear, like Nike ACG or like North Face, Patagonia. The AWG would be FRAWG, so Fru all weather gear. And then I've got this cool like frog that I got from a vintage T-shirt. It was like this like art festival, and he's got these bug eyes and his tongue out, and it's like the perfect little mascot.
Hell yeah!
So it's just like these ideas for next year blooming of like, all right, winter wear. Like we're gonna do like mountain gear and like all that like kind of gorp stuff, like all of like the all terrain like jackets, shorts, pants. Yeah.
You ever think of getting into like shades or shoes?
Shoes are fun, but like just the overhead of like developing and making that, it costs a lot of money.
Yeah. Versus just a shirt.
And like I like one of my favorite pairs of shoes are like some like Nike Nurse shoes that are there at the outlets. They were like $15. They were just like overstocked. They started sending them out to like frontline workers during the pandemic, and they hit the outlet, and I'm like, let me try these on. They're like slip-ons, but they're waterproof. They're like durable, and they're just like comfy. So it's like it's a good everyday shoe if you're just getting messy, like if you're fishing or whatever. Like it doesn't matter. You can just wear them in any condition. Like, and I like to not be scared when I'm wearing something. Like, either wear like an expensive tee and be like, I don't want to stain it, whatever.
Hell yeah.
But I want to go out and just do whatever I'm doing and like not have to worry about like scuffing something. Like,
I think that'd be cool to have like, you know, like you said, in your next pop up to have like only like 5 pairs of shoes or 5 pairs of this, because then it's like
limited.
Yeah, it's like you can't just get this like not anyone type shit.
I got a question with the rights of everything, because I know with music, if I buy a beat or something, or if I don't buy a beat, if I release it acting like it's mine,
you get sued.
Shit could happen. So like
there's
if you,
definitely
like let's say
rules.
you bought some of those Nikes, and let's say you just embroidered Fru.wear on it, and you sold it on your website.
Yeah.
Like, is there anything that they could do to you, or?
So probably. I haven't really. I've tried not to step over the lines like that. Like, it was definitely kind of sketch selling the tie-dye stuff because it is a Nike product, but I was customizing it. So I feel like with the customization, as long as you're not saying, like, it's an official Nike item, it's not, like, actually their collaboration. Like, if you've seen, like, the Mischief shoes, when they did, like, the Holy Water ones or, like, the Devil's Blood ones, and it's, like, they took Air Max 97s and customized them, like, oh, these are Mischief shoes, and it's, like, no, those are Nikes. Like, so, like, that's a whole can of worms. When it comes, like, graphics and stuff, you can always, like, draw inspiration from, and I feel like if you're, like, tiptoeing around the line and, like, making it more original than it is the original, like making it more closely aligned to like what you're doing, everything is regurgitated at this point. Like if you look at old graphics, like everything is inspired. Like I said, Cactus Plant Flea Market collaborated with Nike. They took old bootleg Nike ideas and like retroed that.
Brought them out the vault.
Exactly. But it was like stuff that was bootlegged in the 80s and 90s that was like fakes. They were like, oh, this is kind of cool design. Like, let's make it more official and like let's redo it, but in like a real way.
Yeah,
and
I think
that's
that
cool.
Kinda,
like revisiting.
Yeah, that ties into the music because there's a lot of like people will release beat packs with like claps and snares, and I know that if you put it into your song, but you like tweak up some things, the way it sounds now, like it's not there. Now you just remixed it. So yeah, I can see that. That's what's up.
Yeah.
And I got one thing that's kind of just like on a different topic. Just talking to you, like we were saying, personable level.
Yeah.
What do you do? What are your interests outside of fashion?
So I love music. That's been like my biggest thing, like growing up, was concerts.
Yeah.
And I feel like during the pandemic, that's what pushed me into doing what I'm doing now. Like not spending my money on concert tickets. I was spending my money on clothes and shoes and like investing in that stuff and like, oh, like I'll, resell it and like find new ways to do that. But definitely like going to museums, going to concerts, just like seeing history, but then living through it too, and like being there for like big major events of like things going on, and like where I live now in Jersey, being between Philly and New York is so great, and like I can't wait for you guys to come up because we have both these cities that it's just like everything is right here. And, like,
speaking of museums, have you been to that 50s hip hop museum in New York?
No, I haven't.
You gotta go. It's sick.
Hell yeah.
It's just like a bunch of like pictures of photographers obviously took the pictures of just all 90s and 80s bands and rappers and stuff like that.
It's like the 50th sick. Anniversary exhibit. Yeah, that's sick.
I also feel like your interests in going to these events and museums and all of that also, like, I could just see it ties into you doing your own stuff and being creative and like just taking inspiration from all these events and
that stuff, and like going out in nature too, like just like being immersed in something, like just makes your brain go crazy, and just like
hell yeah,
all these ideas start flowing, and it's like crazy in a good way, because it's like all these things around me are like influencing me and like inspiring me to do this thing, and like how do I incorporate these things I love so much into something else for someone to love.
Hell yeah. Facts. I like that.
If I were to want, like, would you be able to make me a t-shirt if I wanted one, like a custom say I became a UFC fighter and I wanted like a picture of me fighting, would you be able to like make me a drop like that?
I mean, there's definitely ways to do it. Right now I don't have like all the equipment I need, but like there's processes and like bootleg ways we can make it happen. And like this dude taught me like one way you can burn a screen with baby oil and printer paper rather than like there's like clear separations you like put on it. So like if there's a will, there's a way. Like we can make it happen.
Hell yeah.
But yeah, go start training. I'll get that ready.
After that UFC fight this week, bro.
He just said he wants to train UFC like 2 times
after
a week
I saw Adesanya and Napier, I'm like, bro, that
get in the gym.
I want to knock a big motherfucker like that out, bro.
Yeah,
dude, crazy. It's crazy that comeback story of like he lost the belt. He trained for months to get it back, and he just pieced him. Like,
bro,
it looked like he had him for a second. Like I thought, like Adesanya was about to go into a hole,
bro,
and then he came right out of it.
Just
it was crazy,
swinging, and that's crazy. He lost.
He's a crazy motherfucker.
Like, you got to be so. You got to be like deep down, like so determined, and to lose someone 3 times, to get knocked out 3 times, and be like, I want it again. I want it again. I want it again.
That's the crazy thing that I was wondering. Why are they still giving?
Well, 2 of the fights were kickboxing. They weren't in that.
Yeah, they
weren't
in
the UFC.
League. They were in China or something else.
Yeah, and then they had the. So this was the third one.
Yeah,
this second UFC.
This was the fourth, the second UFC. The last one, Adesanya got like.
Yeah, he got pieced.
Yeah.
All right, so it's gonna make like a trilogy.
So this, they're gonna let him fight for the belt back probably, and then Adesanya is gonna have to defend it again, and then that's when it'll be the proof.
Joe Rogan even said, he was like, you're not a great champion until you can defend your belt. Because anyone can win, not anyone, but you know.
But you can get lucky and have a night, and you can come out swinging, and they won't expect it, and you can.
But you're not a GOAT until you're like John Jones, where you depended the title for like 10 years or some shit. That's like when you're at that level. That was a great fight. All the cards, bro, you guys see the little like 135 fights where, bro, those guys were fucking swinging too.
Yeah.
And that was that one kid was 18. He was literally in high school. Like,
that's crazy. That's the craziest thing with these athletes nowadays. Is like they're so young. Like
they've been training their whole life. Like he probably started when he was like young. Yeah.
Which is
that
crazy.
kid will probably have a good, now that he got in the ring with like a vet now, because that guy he fought was, you know, fucking trained. He's over 20 fights. I was like,
get that out of the system now, lose now, and then come back.
Now he has a taste, and he's got that bitter taste to come back. And a great weekend. They had the Masters on this weekend too. I don't know if you guys watch golf or not, but John Rahm won the Masters. Brooks Koepka was leading the whole weekend. But on Saturday, they had really bad weather, so they had to cancel the Masters, and like a tree fell down and shit.
Yeah, I saw the trees down. Yeah,
so they had to play. Rahm and Koepka, who were the leaders, had to play 30 holes. Like they had to play 16 or 15, and then they got like an hour or 2 break, and then they teed off at 2:30, which is a really late tee time, and played again. And then Rahm was down like 3 or 4 strokes and came back, and Brooke Keps he just fucking lost the lead.
Crazy.
But he was like partying shit the whole week. He basically thought he had it in the bag, and Rahm was like, "Nah, buddy, I want that jacket."
He's definitely a partier. Like he definitely let it get
you
the
can
best
tell.
of him.
That kind of got to his head. He even said like he doesn't even have any goals for the PGA. He just like
goes out and plays.
He just goes out and plays, which is just crazy.
I mean, like that's kind of nice in a way because like you're not stressing about it.
Yeah,
and it's like if I play well, I play well. But you kind of need to be.
You
locked
need to have
in.
something that you can like still climb those ladders to. to get to that.
Because it's like the Masters is not like any other tournament. It's like
that's like the
biggest
pinnacle of like
yeah.
golf. That's the history of like country clubs and what golf was all about. Like getting that jacket, having that exclusive.
You kind of have to take that a little seriously, you know. Take away from like being not stressful, but then also
appreciating
put
how
a little
the
stress
history
on
that
yourself.
goes
Like,
into it,
damn, like this is something that I've been working my whole life for.
Yeah. And I think he did not have a good mindset of that. So I mean, respect to Rom. He won it. He got that fucking jacket. Hopefully, I'll give him one day. That shit's clean as fuck.
First UFC golfer.
Yeah.
On the course punching people
He's
out.
doing everything.
They're like, bro, if someone's talked shit in his backswing, he knocked him out. Then hit a 350-yard drive.
Yeah.
That'd be crazy.
Oh, man.
But shit, I mean, we're on 52 minutes. That was a good one.
Yeah, we'll probably wrap it up.
That was a good one
I
today.
appreciate you guys for having me.
Yes, sir.
Thanks for making time on a Monday.
Hell yeah.
Yes, sir. This is something we're trying to, like you, we're trying to build.
For real, I
brand.
appreciate you coming, dog. For real.
Good little like last day in town, hanging with the boys and doing the thing.
I'm glad
we're definitely gonna make a trip up there, bro.
Yeah.
We gotta get up there.
I've never been to Jersey. I really want to go. And now that you're there, Lee's there, fucking couple people I know.
You had an idea of doing it in the park. That'd be cool if we got a couple like things.
Couple cameras set up.
Couple cameras, couple things we can plug all the electronics into. That's definitely a possibility. That'd be a sick shot of the park and having all that
coming
in the background.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, we were talking about wanting to also travel pod. Like, just if we know somebody in another city, just go there, set up anywhere, like in a fucking Starbucks or anything. Just bring our stuff and just set up. The different vibes.
Which would be cool too. So.
A lot of ideas.
DND on the go.
Yeah, DND on the go.
DND pod and Fru.wear drop coming soon, man.
Yeah.
Plug your socials for everybody out there.
Fru.wear on Instagram, Fru.wear.net, because .com's for losers.
How do you spell it for some of the people?
Oh, yeah, Fruwear. I'm Fru. It's my last name. The clothes are what you wear. Just trying to spread good vibes, get it to good people. So
you want some good quality clothes.
We made some
Leaves got this one for me when I still lived here.
Yeah, this is a fire.
Nice little comfy.
Nice little comfy, oversized tee.
Yeah, I've seen you wear that one before.
I wear it all the time when I go out because it's so comfy.
That's
also got the graphics on the back, so
type shit.
It's nice.
Good fade, single stitch, got it all.
Alrighty.
All right, man. Thank y'all
Number
for tuning
7.
in.
Fru.wear, don't forget it. Let's get it, babe. It's Fru.